Imagine you're 18 years old. You've just graduated from high school, you're excited to go to college, and you're spending a great summer working with your friends. What a life! The future is really bright. Maybe change a few details and that could be your story someday, or anyone else's. This is Scott Rigsby's story. When he was 18, he was riding home from work on the back of a flatbed truck when a big semi-truck tried to pass on a single-lane highway. The semi accidentally bumped into the truck, and Scott was thrown into the air. When he came down, he was caught under the tires of the truck and was dragged for over 200 yards. He almost died. One of his legs was amputated that day. Over the next 15 years, he suffered through 26 operations and ultimately had his second leg amputated. Scott was more than just depressed. He was addicted to pain medications, felt like he had no reason to live, and finally contemplated suicide. One day he was watching a TV show about soldiers who had come back from the war with their legs amputated and how hopeless they felt. This hit Scott hard. He could identify with them. Then he read an article about the Ironman triathlon, a grueling race that takes place in Hawaii every year. It begins with a 2.4-mile open ocean swim, followed by a 112-mile bike ride, and caps off with a full 26.2-mile marathon. The piece was about a woman who had lost a leg and was competing in that year's race. In that moment, Scott Rigsby had something he hadn't had in almost 20 years. He had a new dream. He was going to become an Ironman, the name they give those who finish the race, and inspire those soldiers who were returning from Iraq and Afghanistan with disabilities and no hope for the future. He thought that if they could see what he could accomplish, it might inspire them to overcome whatever challenges they faced. Of course, once Scott calmed down, he realized there were just a few challenges. He was really out of shape. He barely ran 100 yards on artificial legs. He couldn't swim. He didn't own a bike and couldn't afford one. There were financial and emotional challenges, as well as the obvious physical challenges. While the challenges were daunting, Scott simply said, "I'm doing it." The dream was set. Now what? Let's see how things turned out.
I have no formal swim training. I don't own a bike, and I've never run farther than a mile on a set of prosthetics. And I said to myself, I believe God wants me to do an Ironman.
What an amazing story. Scott had to finish that race in 17 hours for it to count, and he did it in 16 hours and 43 minutes. How did he accomplish such an amazing feat? Teamwork. He knew that to achieve a big dream, he had to break it down into small parts. Then he needed to surround himself with people who could help him achieve each part. He needed a swimming coach, a cycling coach, a running coach, a nutritionist, and a series of doctors who could help him find the artificial legs he would need. He put together what he calls Team Rigsby and what we call his dream team, and together they achieved great things. Scott put it this way: if you can achieve your dreams alone, you're not dreaming big enough. So, to achieve your big dreams, examine what you need to accomplish, see where you need some help, and look at your current relationships to see who can play what roles. Then set about developing new relationships to fill in the gaps. That is what we call building your dream team.